Now let's work on Mario's cap. First, let's create a cube and let's move it up a little. And let's scale it to and match the image plane, of course. Let's go to the split polygon tool and split edge loop right in the middle. Now let's go to select the vertice and go to the symmetry tool and go to Object X. And that way your selection will be reflected to the other side. And let's start moving some vertices and try to match the image plane once again. Let's go to the right view and create an edge loop where the dip of the cap is and where the apex of the top of the hat is. And let's move those vertices. And let's create another edge loop where the logo is in the middle of the hat. And let's once again adjust these vertices to the shape of the hat and just follow the image reference. Let's add another edge loop to the back of the cap. And let's move those vertices up a little bit. And let's go to the perspective view and move those vertices out. Make it a little bit more rounded. Let's define the cap a little bit better. Add an edge loop and let's round out the top of the hat. Now it's starting to look a little more like Mario's hat. Next, we'll create the bill of the hat. And let's reshape the hat a little more. Select some vertices and push them forward a little bit. make the hat a little more rounded. Let's create an edge loop where the bill of the cap will be. And let's turn off the symmetry tool and select the front faces. And let's go to extrude. Let's extrude this bill of the cap. Scale a little bit. And let's turn symmetry back on again. And let's move these vertices a little bit more in. And let's go to the right view and try to match our model with the image plane. Continue refining the hat until we get it to the shape that we want it to be. Next, let's hit Ctrl 1 to isolate the hat. And let's select the bottom faces of the hat. And let's select those and delete them. Now let's add an edge loop here, and let's go to the side view and move the vertices up. Let's go to Ctrl 1 and isolate the hat and turn off symmetry, and let's select the edges of the inner cap and extrude. Go to the world axis and extrude in, and let's extrude one more time. So extrude one more time and extrude up. And we have the inner lining of the cap. And let's go back, hit Control 1 again to go back to Mario's head. Let's turn on Select Symmetry, Object X, and let's go to the vertices where we just extruded the lining of the hat. And let's go to the right view and adjust them a little bit. Maybe push them down a little more so it's closer to the ear. Let's define the bill of the cap a little bit better. Let's go to the edge loop tool and put one there, right where the bill starts. And let's put another one. And let's smooth some verts to match the image plane. Let's adjust the front of the bill of the cap a little bit. Let's go to Select Symmetry and let's move front verts a little bit back and in. Next, let's add an edge loop to the front bill of the cap, and of course, adjust accordingly. Next, let's create the badge to Mario's hat. Let's create a cylinder, and let's move it up a little bit, and let's hit Control 1 to isolate it and rotate it 90 degrees and give it a subdivision axis of 16. And let's scale it to about coin size. And then let's select all the faces. And let's extrude it and scale it a little bit. And let's extrude it one more time. And let's move it in. Give it like a little indentation. And let's extrude it one more time. And we're gonna extrude it one more time. Extrude it in and scale it. Let's select some edges and delete them. And let's give it some shape and add 2 edge loops to the side of it. Let's select all the faces and back of the badge. let's select one of the vertex and click F11 to select all the faces and extrude. And let's scale it in a little bit. Now let's make the M logo for Mario's head. Let's create a cube and pull it up. And next we'll give it a width of 5 and a subdivision width of 4. And let's scale it a little to make it a little bit skinnier. Let's go to the front view. And let's go to the select symmetry tool, Object X. And let's select the middle vertices and pull them down. Let's pull them down a little more. Select the outer ones, pull them down to create the letter M. Let's rotate these guys a little bit. And then let's select the leg of the M and push them in so it looks more like an M. Next, let's scale the M logo to fit on the badge. Let's just move it up a little bit and scale it so it'll fit on there. Let's adjust this M logo a little bit. Let's pull up these verts, pull down these, and push it in a little bit. Then select these, pull it down, pull down these a little more, push it in, make it look more like an M. I think this is good. Okay, let's select all the edges. And let's go to turn off the symmetry tool and go to edit mesh bevel. And let's give it a segment of 2 and a fraction of 0.3. Never mind, let's make that 0.2. And let's see, that looks good. And let's delete history and put it back into the badge. Let's rename the logo. Let's call it M logo. And let's rename the badge, call it round badge. Let's select both of these guys and let's group it together and call it the badge group. And let's center the pivot. And let's bring back Mario's head, Control 1. And let's go to the front view. And let's scale the badge to the Mario's head. Let's bring it back, rotate it maybe a little bit. And make sure it's in object mode and move it to align perfectly with the reference image. Let's go to the M logo. Let's go to the select symmetry tool and go to Object X, and let's add 2 edge loops. Next, let's go to the badge group and let's go to deform and select lattice. Let's give it a S divisions of 5 and a T divisions of 5. And let's select the lattice point and let's try to conform it to the hat a little bit by bending it. To the top one, try to bend it back a little bit, so conform to the cap more. Let's go to the M logo and try to shape it a little bit better to the cap. Let's create a hat layer and let's call it hat. And save it real quick. And let's select the badge group and add it to the hat layer. And let's select the cap itself and just rename it to cap and add it to the hat layer as well. Let's select the mustache layer and add hair to it. And let's select all the hair geometry and add it to the layer. And let's select the eyebrow layer and rename it eyebrow geo L. And select the right one and eyebrow geo R. At this point, we're done modeling Mario's head. Hopefully your model came out similar to this. Next is UV editing. Let's turn off the visibility of Mario's hat And let's go to the workspace and go to UV editing. Next, let's select Mario's head and go to create, planar, and let's go to the Z axis and project. Next, let's turn off the select symmetry tool and select the edges on Mario's head. And let's cut those. And next, let's go to select symmetry again and let's cut the ear area. And let's hit cut. And then next, let's select the inner mouth area of all the edges in the inner mouth. And let's cut those UVs. And let's turn off select symmetry and select the middle of the inner mouth. And let's cut those edges. Next, we'll select the shell of Mario's head and we'll go to unfold. And let's move that aside and let's select the ear and unfold, and both ears unfold. And the inner throat, of course, unfold. Well, let's select the edges that align the inner throat, and let's select those one more time. And let's hit sew. And let's unfold those and arrange it appropriately. Let's select all the shells, everything, and then go to layout. Go to layout. And then let's arrange those shells in the right place. Let's go back to the general workspace. And let's turn on the visibility of the hat and the hair. Next, let's turn off visibility for Mario's hat and change his face to template mode, and change the workspace to UV editing and select the hair. And let's go to create and planar mapping, and let's go to Z axis and project, and let's select some edges. Let's go to select symmetry tool and change it to object X and select all the edges. Let's go to cut and select the shell and move it up and unfold it. And let's select the other one and unfold it. And let's move them a little. And let's go to layout. And so they'll both fit into the UV area. And let's move it a little. Now let's concentrate on Mario's mustache. Let's go to create, planar, and go to the Z axis and project Mario's mustache and let's go to select edges and select all the edges in the front half of the mustache. Next, let's go to cut. Let's cut those and select the shell and move it to the left. And let's go to unfold the mustache and lay it out. And let's arrange it in a nice proper way. lets you map the eyebrows. Let's go to Create, Planar, and now let's select the edges of the front half of the eyebrow. And let's go to Cut, and let's select the front half of the shell and move it up. And let's unfold, and let's lay out, and let's just arrange these eyebrows in a nice order. Now let's select the right eyebrow, and let's go ahead and delete it. And let's select the left eyebrow, make sure the pivot is in the center, and duplicate special and make a copy of it. As you can see, the history of the left eyebrow UVs are retained in the right eyebrow. Let's make Mario's head and hat visible again. Let's go back to the UV editing workspace. Now let's select the hat, go to Create, Planar Mapping, and let's go to the Z-axis and project. Let's go to the one base mesh mode and select the edges where the bill meets the hat. And let's select those edges. And let's go to Cut, and select the hat and move it up. Select the bill and move it down. And let's planar map the bill to the y-axis and move it down a little bit. And let's select the hat, and let's go to Unfold. Let's unfold it really quick. Now let's select some edges in the inner bill area. So let's select these guys right here, and let's go to Cut, and let's select the top portion of that and move it, and let's cut these edges out from the hat, and let's select these edges and go to Move and Sew, and let's select the shell and unfold it. Select this shell and unfold it, and select the top portion of the hat and unfold it. Let's select everything and go to Layout, and let's just arrange things in an orderly manner. Let's UV map the badge. Let's select it first. Let's go to Create, Planar, and then let's select the Z-axis and project. And let's select an edge on the badge and double click it. And let's select Cut, and let's select the top shell and move it up and go to Unfold. Select the bottom one, Unfold, and select both of them. And go to Layout, and let's arrange it in a nice orderly fashion. Now let's work on Mario's logo. Let's select the letter M, go to Create, Planar, and let's go to the Z-axis and project. And now let's hit Control-1 to isolate it. And let's select the edges. First, let's go to the Select Symmetry tool, and let's select these edges. Now let's go to cut and select the UV shell and move it up. Let's select both of them and push layout. And let's scale it a little bit and let's arrange it and then click unfold. And let's unfold the other one as well. And let's rotate this a little bit and arrange it properly. Next, let's go to Control 1 again to see Mario's head. Let's do a little housekeeping and rename a few things. Let's select this and rename it to Mario Head. Let's select this and rename it to Mustache. And let's rename this to Eyebrow Geo R. And let's select this and put it under the Mario Head group. Select the badge group, put it in the Mario Head group. Select the eyeball, Mario Head group. Put everything under the Mario Head group. So delete this. And let's delete this as well. And let's see. Put the eyebrow into the Mario Head group. Let's add, let's add underscore GRP to the eyeball. Let's turn off the symmetry tool, which is on the top over there. And let's hide the outline. Let's go to the hypershade and let's go to create Arnold shader surface and go to AI standard surface. And let's rename that to AI Mario skin. Let's turn off the specular weight to 0. And let's change the diffuse roughness to 0.200. And let's double click on the color tab. And let's go to the color picker and select Mario skin on the reference image. Let's do that one more time. Select the skin and hit done. Let's select Mario's face and go to the skin shader and right click and click assign material to shader. Let's go to create Arnold shader surface and go to AI standard surface. Let's rename it to AI Mario hair. Let's change the specular weight to 0 and the diffuse roughness to 0.200. And let's double click on the color tab and go to the color picker. And let's select Mario's hair on the reference image. And click done. Let's select all the hair geometry and go to the hair shader and click assign material to selection. Let's select the eyebrow and right click the shader and assign material to selection. And let's select the hat and let's go to Arnold shader surface and go to AI standard surface. And let's change the name to AI Mario hat. Let's change the specular weight to 0 and the diffuse roughness to 0.200. Double click on the color tab and let's go to the color picker and let's choose the red color on the reference image and click done. And let's click the hat and then click assign material to selection as well as the logo. Let's create another AI standard surface shader. And let's rename it to AI Mario badge. And let's change the specular weight to 0 and diffuse roughness to 0.20. And let's double click on the color tab. And let's go to the color picker again and select the badge color and click done. Let's assign the material to the badge and there you go. Now we have all the shaders on Mario's head. Let's do a little more house cleaning. Let's select Mario's hat. Let's delete the history. Let's center the pivot and freeze the transformations. That sets everything to 0. And let's do the same thing with the badge. Center pivot, freeze the transformations, and the eyebrow. And this eyebrow as well. Center pivot, delete history, freeze transformations, and the mustache as well. And the sideburns, and the back of the hair. And the face, center pivot, delete history, freeze transformations. Let's turn the visibility of these two image planes off. And let's do a quick test render to see what we get. As you can see, we don't see anything because we don't have any lights and we're using Arnold shaders. So let's go and create a light. Go to Arnold Lights and go to create an area light. Let's move it to the front of Mario's head. And let's scale it a little bit. And let's go to the attribute editor and let's change the intensity to 10 and the exposure to 2. And let's go and render it and see what we get. As you can see, Mario is looking kind of grainy and spooky. So let's change the intensity to 15 and let's render it one more time. And he's still looking kind of grainy and spooky. So let's change the render settings real quick. Let's go to the Arnold renderer, change the AA settings to 4. And let's go to the common tab and change to HD 720. And now let's render it one more time. As you can see, it looks a bit more clearer, but he's still looking kind of dark. And see, he's looking very, very dark still. So let's add some more lights to even everything out. Let's duplicate that light and rotate it 90 degrees and move it back to the side of Mario's head. And let's duplicate this light and rotate it 180 degrees to the side of Mario's head. Duplicate this light and move it back and rotate it 180 degrees to the back of Mario's head. And let's duplicate the front light and move it up and let's rotate it a little bit. And let's give a quick render and see what it looks like. See, now it looks a little bit clearer and it has better even lighting, though the eyes are still kind of shiny. So we'll have to fix that. Let's make Mario's hair a little bit darker. Let's select his mustache, go to the attribute editor, and double click on the color tab and make it a little bit darker. Next, let's create a spotlight and move it in front of Mario's face. And let's make the intensity 10 and the cone angle to 51. And let's just render that really quickly to see what it looks like. So we're getting 2 sparkles on the eye, which is what we want, but it's still reflecting the area light, so we'll have to fix that. Let's go to Windows Relationship Editors and let's go to Light Linking Object Centric. And let's go to Mario's head and go to Mario Eyeball L group and deselect these lights. They won't affect it. And let's render it real quick. And I still see a reflection. So let's select the area light 1 the one that's affecting it. And let's turn off the specular. Set the specular to 0. And let's render it again. And now we have a nice eyeball with 2 sparkles on it. Let's go ahead and turn off the visibility of the lights. And let's turn on the image plane. And let's put Mario's head on its own layer. Let's call it head group. I guess this concludes the modeling of Mario's head. I just wanted to go over a few things about the image planes not perfectly matching with our model. Sometimes the image planes only give you a limited view of what the model looks like, and so we had to basically model some things that were not there that we couldn't quite see. Next will be part 4, modeling Mario's body. So I hope to see you there.